Beloved soul, something has just shifted in the spiritual realm and you were not meant to miss this moment. Before you even clicked on this message, before your eyes began to read these very words, a warning had already been written, sealed in divine timing, marked specifically for your family, and guarded by 3 heavenly messengers. This is not coincidence. This is not random. This is a direct interruption, a sacred alert that has found its way to you because your spirit was ready to receive it. Here is a date that hath been echoing through the unseen realm, May 23rd, not as an ordinary day, but as a line drawn between what was hidden and what is about to be revealed. On that day, something was recorded about your family, something that carries both urgency and protection. And even now, as you listen, the energy of that moment is still unfolding, still active, still reaching toward you like a whisper that refuses to be ignored. You may have felt it already, a strange shift in your surroundings, a heaviness in your thoughts that you couldn't explain, or perhaps an unshakable feeling that something is not quite right, even when everything looks normal on the outside. These are not random emotions. These are signals, gentle nudges from the spiritual realm trying to prepare you before it's too late to notice. The truth is, not everyone will understand this message. Not everyone was chosen to hear it. But you were guided here for a reason. Out of countless voices, distractions, and noise, this message found you. That alone should tell you how important this moment is. Because when heaven sends a warning, it does not shout. It places the message exactly where it needs to be, in the path of the one who must hear it. 3 angels have stepped forward, not in fear, but in urgency. They carry a message that has been carefully written, not to harm you, but to awaken you. Their presence is not to scare you, but to protect what matters most: your family, your peace, your spiritual covering. But here is what makes this moment so rare. This message is not general. It is not broad. It is deeply personal. It was written with your life, your household, and your current path in mind. Something hath been seen. Something hath been noted. And something is about to be revealed. But listen closely. This is not a message of doom. It is a message of awareness. Because what is revealed early can be protected. What is understood in time can be changed. And what is seen through spiritual eyes can never again be hidden in darkness. Right now, you stand at a spiritual crossroad. One path leads to ignorance, where signs are ignored and patterns repeat. The other path leads to awareness, where divine protection surrounds you because you chose to listen. And the fact that you are still here, still listening, means your soul has already begun choosing the second path. Stay with this message. Do not turn away now. Because what comes next will begin to uncover the truth behind what was written and why your family was placed at the center of it. Are you ready for what is about to be revealed? There are moments in time that carry more than just hours and minutes. They carry weight, intention, and divine alignment. May 23rd is not just a date that passed quietly on a calendar. It is a spiritual marker, a moment that was set apart long before you became aware of it. In the unseen realm, certain days are chosen as points of intervention, when heaven leans closer to earth and records what must not be ignored. It was one of those moments. On May 23rd, something shifted over your family line. It was not sluchakui, and it was not without purpose. A spiritual observation was made, and a message was written, not with ink, but with divine authority. This message carries a warning, yes, but also a covering. Because when heaven reveals something, it is never to harm you. It is to prepare you, to protect you, and to redirect what could otherwise go unnoticed. You may be wondering why your family, Why now? Why this message? The truth is, your family has been under a kind of spiritual attention that you may not have fully understood until now. There are patterns, cycles, and energies that have been moving quietly through your household, things that may have felt normal on the surface, but in reality were part of something deeper, something that needed to be addressed before it could grow stronger. Think about the past few weeks, the unusual tensions, the sudden misunderstandings, the moments when peace seemed to slip away without a clear reason. Perhaps there were small arguments that escalated too quickly, or feelings of distance where there used to be closeness. These are not random disruptions. They are often the first signs that something spiritual is trying to gain influence, quietly and subtly. But here is where the message becomes powerful, because May 23rd was not just the moment this was seen, it was the moment it was interrupted. The writing of this warning means that what could have continued unnoticed has now been exposed to the light. And once something is brought into the light, it loses its power to hide. There is a reason you are being made aware now instead of later. Timing is everything in the spiritual realm. If this message had come too early, you might have dismissed it. If it had come too late, the damage might have already taken root. But now, right now, you are in the exact moment where awareness can still change the outcome. Your family is not being targeted without reason. Often, the strongest families, the ones with hidden purpose and future blessings, face the most subtle forms of spiritual resistance. Not because they are weak, but because they carry something valuable, something worth protecting, something worth disrupting if it is left unguarded. And that is why this message was written. Not as a sentence, but as a shield. Not as fear, but as preparation. As you continue listening, allow yourself to become more aware of what has been happening around you. The small details you may have overlooked, the feelings you brushed aside, the moments that did not make sense at the time. Because all of it is connected, and all of it is leading toward a deeper revelation. The three angels who delivered this message did not come without purpose. Their presence signals that what is unfolding is serious, but also that you are not alone in facing it. They have seen what you could not see. They have heard what was not spoken aloud. And now, they are guiding this message directly to you, so nothing remains hidden any longer. The next layer of this message will begin to uncover who these angels are, why they stepped forward, and what exactly has been written about your family. Stay alert, because what you are about to hear may explain more than you ever expected. Listen carefully now, because what is about to be revealed carries a weight that cannot be ignored. The presence of the three angels is not symbolic. It is intentional, direct, and deeply connected to your current moment. These are not distant observers. They are active messengers, assigned with precision, each carrying a specific role in delivering what has already been written about your family. The first angel stepped forward with clarity. This angel is the revealer, the one who uncovers what has been hidden beneath the surface. Nothing escapes its sight. It sees the quiet tensions, the unspoken words, the subtle shifts in energy that others may overlook. This angel does not bring confusion. It brings truth. And what it revealed on May 23rd was something that had been slowly building, something that needed to be acknowledged before it could take deeper root. The second angel carries the weight of discernment. This one separates what is real from what is illusion. It identifies what belongs and what does not. Around your family, there have been influences, some welcomed, some unnoticed, that do not align with your peace or your purpose. This angel marked those influences clearly, drawing a line between what should remain and what must be released. It is not always easy to see these things with human eyes, but in the spiritual realm, nothing is disguised. The third angel stands as a guardian. His presence is strong, unwavering, and filled with protective authority. This angel did not come merely to observe or reveal. It came to stand watch. Because once the warning was written, protection had to be assigned. And this protection is not passive. It is active, alert, and ready to respond to anything that attempts to cross the boundaries that have now been set around your family. Together, these three angels form a message that is complete: revelation, discernment, and protection. This is not a random combination. It is a divine structure, one that ensures you are not only made aware of what is happening, but also guided on how to respond and shielded from what could harm you. What they revealed about your family is not meant to create fear, but it is serious enough that it could not remain unspoken. There has been a presence, subtle, quiet, and patient, moving within the spaces of your daily life. It may not have appeared threatening at first. In fact, it may have blended into routine, into habits, into moments that seemed ordinary. But over time, its influence began to create imbalance. This imbalance is what the angels could no longer ignore. It showed itself in emotional strain, in unexpected tension, in moments where unity seemed to weaken without clear cause. These are not just emotional experiences. They are reflections of something deeper trying to take hold. But hear this clearly, because this warning has been written and delivered, that influence no longer has the same access it once did. Exposure changes everything. Awareness breaks patterns, and divine intervention shifts outcomes. You are not being left to figure this out alone. The very fact that these angels step forward means that your family is under divine attention in this moment. And that attention is not passive, it is active, protective, and intentional. Now, there is something you must understand. When a message like this reaches you, it creates a moment of choice. You can receive it fully, allowing it to open your awareness and guide your actions, or you can turn away, allowing things to continue as they were. But deep within, you already feel the truth of this. You already sense that something about this message resonates beyond words. If this is speaking to your spirit, do not ignore that feeling. It is not ikaki. It is confirmation. Type "I receive divine protection" in the comments if this message is aligning with your spirit. Blessing code 911 is now activated over your life and your household. And as this sacred moment unfolds, understand this: when you step into agreement with divine warnings, you also step into partnership with divine protection. This message is not just reaching you, it is inviting you to become part of something greater. Right now, as you stand in this awareness, there is an opportunity to extend this light even further. Every message like this is a seed, and when it is shared, it becomes a harvest in someone else's life. There are souls who are still unaware, families who have not yet received their warning, hearts that are waiting for clarity just like you were. I feel led to be part of this mission. Is not just a thought. It is a calling being placed in your spirit at this very moment. The word says, "Give, and it will be given to you. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over." This is not just a verse. It is a living promise being spoken over you right now. As you give, you open the flow for greater protection, greater clarity, and greater peace to enter your life. This is your moment to act. Sow into this mission through Super Thanks or through the PayPal link in the description or QR code. As you do, you are not just supporting a message, you are helping this light reach families who desperately need it. Release your seed now and step into the blessing that follows obedience. There is something deeper now that must be brought into your awareness, something that may have already brushed against your spirit without you fully understanding it at the time. The warning that was written was not formed in isolation. It was connected to signs that have already been appearing around you. Quiet signals, subtle impressions, moments that may have seemed small, but carried a weight you could not explain. Think back carefully. There have been instances where your intuition spoke, but you pushed it aside. A sudden feeling about a person, a hesitation about a decision, a moment where something felt off, yet you continued forward because there was no clear reason to stop. These are not random experiences. These are the exact kinds of signals that often come before a deeper revelation. For some, these signs have come through dreams, unusual dreams that felt more vivid than normal. Dreams that stayed with you long after you woke up, as if they were trying to tell you something. Perhaps you saw unfamiliar situations, or even familiar faces acting in ways that confused you. These dreams were not meaningless. They were fragments of insight, small openings through which the spiritual realm was attempting to communicate. For others, the signs have been emotional, a heaviness that appeared without cause, a sudden wave of unease in what should have been a peaceful moment, or even a sense of distance within your family that you could not quite explain. These emotional shifts are often the first indicators that something deeper is moving beneath the surface. There may have also been patterns repeating themselves, small disruptions that seem to come and go, but never fully disappear. Conversations that turn tense without reason. Plans that fall apart unexpectedly. Moments of unity that are quickly followed by misunderstanding. These patterns are not demonetized. They are cycles that form when something unseen is trying to create imbalance. The message written on May 23rd is directly connected to these signs. It is as if all of these moments were pieces of a larger picture, and now that picture is finally being revealed to you. What once seemed scattered is now being brought together with clarity. But here is where many people misunderstand these kinds of warnings. They assume that because something feels negative or unsettling, it must be overwhelming or unstoppable. That is not the case. In fact, the presence of these signs means the opposite. It means that what was hidden is now being exposed early enough for you to respond. Awareness is not weakness. Awareness is power. When you begin to recognize these patterns, you take away their ability to operate unnoticed. You begin to see what is influencing your environment instead of being quietly affected by. And once you can see it, you can stand against it. This is where your role becomes important. The angels have revealed, they have marked, and they have begun the protection. What you must now become conscious of what you allow into your space. Not everything deserves access to your energy, your attention, or your household. Pay attention to the atmosphere around you. Notice how certain conversations leave you feeling drained, while others bring peace. Observe how certain environments create tension, while others restore clarity. These are not just emotional reactions. They are indicators of alignment or misalignment. There is also a need to listen more closely to your inner voice. That quiet instinct you sometimes ignore is not demonetized. It is often the first line of communication between you and divine guidance. When something feels wrong, there is a reason. When something feels right, there is a reason. Trusting that voice will begin to sharpen your awareness in ways you have not experienced before. The message is not asking you to live in fear. It is asking you to live in awareness. There is a difference. Fear causes you to retreat, but awareness causes you to stand with clarity and confidence. And as you continue to understand these signs, you will begin to see how everything connects. The dreams, the emotions, the patterns, they were all leading to this moment of realization. Nothing was slujarakaki. Nothing was without purpose. You are being shown what many never see until it is too late. And because of that, you now have the opportunity to shift what was forming before it fully takes shape. Stay attentive, because the next layer will go even deeper into what has been influencing your family and why it could not be ignored any longer. Now the message begins to move into a deeper layer, one that must be understood with both courage and clarity. What was revealed is not just about signs or feelings. It is about an influence that has been quietly present around your family. Not loud, not obvious, but persistent. Subtle enough to go unnoticed, yet strong enough to create shifts over time. This influence does not arrive in ways that immediately raise alarm. It works through small openings, moments of stress, emotional vulnerability, miscommunication, or even distraction. It does not force its way in. It waits to be allowed in through patterns that seem harmless at first. That is why it has taken time to recognize. That is why it needed to be exposed through this warning. You may have noticed how certain situations seem to repeat within your family. Not always in the same form, but with the same outcome. A misunderstanding that keeps returning. A tension that never fully resolves. A sense of disconnection that appears even after moments of closeness. These are not just coincidences. They are signs of something feeding off imbalance. This is the hidden challenge that the message is pointing toward. It is not a single event, but a pattern. A cycle that, if left unaddressed, continues to grow quietly. And the longer it remains unnoticed, the more natural it begins to feel, until it becomes part of the routine. But here's the truth that changes everything. What operates in subtlety loses its strength when it is brought into awareness. This influence has no power over a family that is alert, united, and spiritually grounded. It depends on distraction. It depends on emotional reactions that go unchecked. It depends on moments where clarity is replaced by confusion. And once those conditions are removed, it can no longer function in the same way. This is why the warning was written. Not because something has already taken control, but because something was attempting to build a foothold. And that attempt has now been interrupted. There is also something important you must recognize. Not every challenge comes from outside forces. Sometimes, the opening is created within, through habits, through words spoken in frustration, through unresolved emotions that are left to sit and grow. This is not about blame. It is about awareness. Because when you understand where the openings are, you gain the power to close them. Take a moment to reflect honestly. Where have there been repeated tensions? Where have small issues turned into larger ones without clear reason? Where has peace been replaced by discomfort, even briefly? These are the exact areas where attention is needed. But do not let this realization overwhelm you. You are not being shown this to feel burdened. You are being shown this to take control. Because once you become aware, you are no longer reacting blindly. You are responding with intention. This is also where unity becomes essential. A family that stands together in awareness becomes stronger than any influence that tries to create division. Even small steps toward understanding, patience, and communication begin to shift the atmosphere. What once felt heavy begins to lift. What once felt confusing begins to clear. And remember this. The presence of this warning means that the situation is already being addressed. The angels did not simply reveal this and step back. Their role continues. The protection that has been assigned is still active. But protection works best when it is met with awareness and action. You are not powerless in this. In fact, you are being positioned to become the very reason this cycle is broken. The one who sees clearly. The one who responds differently. The one who refuses to let patterns repeat without question. This is how transformation begins, not in one sudden moment, but in the decision to no longer ignore what hath been revealed. The influence that was once hidden is now exposed, and because it is exposed, it no longer holds the same place it once did. Its presence have been interrupted, its pattern have been recognized, and its access is being restricted. Hold on to this awareness. Let it guide your actions, your words, and your choices. Because what you do from this moment forward will begin to reshape the atmosphere around your family. And as this understanding deepens, something powerful is about to step forward, something that does not just reveal or warn, but actively defends and restores. Now, as the truth continues to unfold, there is a powerful shift taking place in the spiritual atmosphere surrounding you and your family. This is the moment where warning transforms into protection, where awareness is met with strength. Because when something is revealed from the heavens, it is never left unguarded. This is where the presence of Archangel Michael becomes undeniable. Archangel Michael is not distant. He is not passive. He is a defender, a warrior of divine light, assigned to stand against anything that seeks to disturb the peace and purpose of those under divine covering. And right now, his presence is not happy, it is intentional. He steps forward precisely when protection is required at a higher level. What you must understand is this. The moment the warning was written on May 23rd, it did not stand alone. It activated a response. And that response included the assignment of divine protection over your household. Archangel Michael's role in this is not symbolic. It is active. It is present. And it is powerful. There are forces you may never fully see with your eyes, but that does not mean they are not real. In the same way, the protection that now surrounds you is also real, even if it cannot be touched or measured in physical ways. Archangel Michael stands in the unseen, creating a boundary, a spiritual line that cannot be crossed without resistance. You may begin to notice subtle changes, a shift in the atmosphere within your home, moments where tension begins to dissolve more quickly than before. Situations that could have escalated, suddenly calming without explanation. These are not coincidences. These are signs that protection is actively working. But here is where your awareness becomes part of that protection. Archangel Michael does not force his presence into spaces that are closed off. He responds to openness, to intention, to willingness. When you acknowledge that protection is present, you align yourself with it. You strengthen it. There is a reason he is often described as carrying a sword of light. That sword represents clarity, truth, and the cutting away of anything that does not belong. Right now, that same energy is moving through your environment, separating what is aligned with peace from what is not. You may feel moments of clarity that come suddenly, realizations about people, situations, or patterns that you did not fully understand before. That is not slujikaki. That is part of this protection. Because to defend something, you must first see it clearly. There is also a deeper layer to this presence. Archangel Michael does not only defend, he restores balance. Where there has been confusion, he brings clarity. Where there has been tension, he brings calm. Where there has been weakness, he strengthens. And this is happening not just around you, but within you. Your thoughts may begin to feel more focused. Your decisions may carry more confidence. Your ability to sense what is right and what is not will begin to sharpen. This is what happens when divine protection is not only around you, but working through you. However, there is one thing you must not do. Do not return to unconscious patterns. Once something has been revealed and protected, going back to old habits reopens doors that were meant to be closed. This is why awareness must continue. Stay mindful of your environment. Stay intentional with your words and actions. Speak with calm instead of reacting with emotion. Choose understanding instead of conflict. These small shifts create a space where protection can remain strong and uninterrupted. You are not expected to be perfect, but you are being called to be aware, because awareness keeps the doors closed to what was once trying to enter unnoticed. There is also something comforting you must hold on to. Archangel Michael does not leave once he arrives for a purpose like this. His presence remains as long as it is needed. His protection does not fade suddenly. It stays, watches, and responds. Right now, your family is not standing alone. There is a shield in place. A presence that sees what you cannot see, responds to what you cannot detect, and stands firm where you might feel uncertain. Let that truth settle within you, not as fear but as reassurance. Because what was once hidden hath been revealed, and what hath been revealed is now being guarded with a strength that cannot be shaken. And as this protection continues to hold its place, you are about to understand what steps you must take to fully align with it. Steps that will not only protect your family, but begin to transform the atmosphere around you completely. Now comes the moment where everything begins to turn inward, where the message is no longer just something you hear, but something you live. Because protection, no matter how powerful, becomes even stronger when it is met with intentional action. You have been shown the signs. You have been made aware of the influence. You have felt the presence of protection. But now, you are being called to respond. This is not about doing something complicated or unreachable. The steps you are being asked to take are simple, but they carry deep spiritual weight. It begins with awareness in your daily life. Pay attention to how you speak within your home. Words are not empty, they carry energy. When words are spoken in frustration, they leave traces. When words are spoken in peace, they restore balance. Choose your words carefully, because they shape the atmosphere around your family more than you realize. There is also a need for stillness. In the middle of noise, distraction, and constant movement, it becomes easy to lose connection with your inner guidance. Even a few moments of quiet reflection each day can begin to realign your thoughts. In that stillness, you will start to notice something. Clarity becomes easier. Decisions feel less confusing. That quiet space becomes a doorway where guidance can reach you without interruption. Prayer also becomes a powerful anchor in this moment. Not formal or complicated, but sincere and focused. Speak with intention. Ask for protection not just around your family, but within your home, your conversations, your thoughts. When you speak with sincerity, you create alignment with the protection that has already been placed over you. There is another step that may require more courage: distancing from negativity. This does not always mean removing people completely, but it does mean recognizing what consistently brings a balance into your space. Not every connection is meant to have full access to your life. Some boundaries are necessary, not out of rejection, but out of protection. You may already sense where these boundaries are needed. Certain interactions that leave you drained. Certain environments that shift your peace. Trust that awareness. Creating distance where needed is not weakness, it is wisdom. And it allows your space to remain aligned with clarity instead of confusion. Another important step is unity within your family. Even small efforts to communicate with patience, to listen without reacting, to understand instead of assuming. These begin to repair the very areas where imbalance once tried to grow. Unity does not require perfection. It requires willingness. When even one person begins to respond differently, it starts to shift the entire dynamic. You may also find it helpful to create moments of shared peace. It could be something as simple as sitting together without distraction, having calm conversations, or even just sharing a quiet moment without tension. These small acts build a stronger foundation, one that is much harder for any outside influence to disturb. And through all of this, remember that you are not doing this alone. The protection that was assigned is still active. Archangel Michael's presence is still standing. But your actions now become a form of agreement with that protection. You are not just being protected, you are participating in maintaining that protection. There may be moments where you feel tested, moments where old patterns try to return. A sudden argument, a weight of frustration, a situation that feels familiar in a way that concerns you. These moments are not signs of failure. They are opportunities to respond differently. And each time you do, the old pattern loses its strength. You are being given the ability to shift what once felt automatic, to break cycles that may have gone unnoticed for a long time. This is not SLUCHARIKAKI. This is intentional. You are being positioned as a turning point within your family. Hold on to that truth. You are not just receiving a message, you are becoming part of its fulfillment. And as you begin to take these steps, something powerful will start to unfold. What once felt like a warning will begin to transform into something else entirely, something that carries not just protection, but purpose. What is unfolding now is something far greater than a warning alone. What once felt like a moment of urgency is beginning to reveal itself as a turning point, one that carries transformation, purpose, and a deeper calling over your family. Because when heaven intervenes at this level, it is never just to stop something negative. It is to prepare something greater. The message written on May 23rd was not only about what needed to be seen, it was about what is about to change. There is a shift happening within your family line, one that is moving you away from cycles of confusion and into a space of clarity, strength, and alignment. And this shift is not SLUCHARIKAKI. It has been building, quietly, over time. You may not have noticed it at first, but there have been moments where things began to feel different. Small changes in perspective, a growing awareness that certain patterns no longer feel right, a quiet desire for peace, for stability, for something more grounded and real. These are not random thoughts. These are signs of transformation already beginning. The warning you received was the spark, and brought awareness. It exposed what needed to be seen. But now, that awareness is becoming direction. You are no longer just observing what had been happening. You are stepping into a position where you can begin to shape what happens next. This is where your role becomes even more important. Because transformation does not happen by accident. It happens through choice, through intention, through the decision to no longer repeat what has already been revealed. Your family is being given an opportunity to move into a new kind of alignment. One where peace is not temporary, but consistent. One where communication becomes clearer, not strained. One where unity replaces division, not occasionally, but as a foundation. And this is where something powerful must be understood. You were chosen to hear this message not just for your own awareness, but because you carry the ability to influence this transformation. Whether you realize it or not, your actions, your responses, your awareness, they ripple outward. They affect the atmosphere around you. When you choose calm over reaction, it shifts the tone. When you choose understanding over assumption, it creates space for connection. When you choose awareness over distraction, It strengthens the protection already in place. These are not small changes. These are the building blocks of transformation. There is also something else unfolding beneath the surface. As this shift takes place, what no longer aligns with your family's peace will begin to fall away naturally. Situations that once felt complicated may begin to resolve. Tensions that once lingered may begin to fade. Even certain influences may quietly lose their place without force or conflict. This is how transformation often works. It does not always come with noise. Sometimes, it comes with quiet realignment. A steady movement away from what no longer belongs and toward what strengthens you. And through all of this, the presence of protection remains. Archangel Michael continues to stand guard, not just to defend, but to support this transformation. Because growth requires both protection and direction, and you are being given both. But there is one thing you must hold on to. Do not return to what has already been revealed. Transformation requires consistency. The moment you begin to ignore what you now understand, the shift weakens. But when you remain aware, when you continue choosing differently, the transformation strengthens. You are not just moving away from something, you are moving toward something better. A stronger foundation, a clearer connection, a more peaceful environment. And this is only the beginning. I step into divine alignment in the comments if you feel this transformation taking place within you. Lesson code 1441 is now activated over your path and your family. And as this transformation continues to unfold, recognize this moment as more than just personal. What is happening through you can reach far beyond your own household. There are others who are still in the place you once were, unaware, uncertain, waiting for clarity. I choose to help this message reach others. Is not just a thought. It is a response to what hath been placed in your hands. The word speaks, those who sow in tears shall reap in joy. This is a living promise, speaking directly into this moment. As you give, as you support, you become part of a greater flow, one that carries healing, awareness, and protection to others. Now is the moment to act. Sow your seed through Super Thanks or through the PayPal link in the description and QR code. As you do, you are helping this message reach families who are still waiting for their turning point. Release your seed and step fully into the transformation that has already begun. As this transformation continues to unfold, there is a deeper layer that must now be understood, one that reaches beyond the present moment and into the history of your family itself. Because what has been revealed is not only connected to what is happening now, but also to patterns that may have existed long before you became aware of them. Every family carries a story, not just in memories or traditions, but in patterns, ways of responding, ways of communicating, ways of handling conflict, stress, and change. Some of these patterns are positive, strengthening the family over time. But others can quietly repeat across generations, unnoticed, becoming so familiar that they are accepted as normal. The message connected to May 23rd has touched on something within this deeper layer. It has revealed that certain cycles within your family were beginning to repeat again. Cycles that may have appeared in different forms over time, but carried the same underlying energy. These could be patterns of misunderstanding, emotional distance, or tension that seems to arise without clear cause. You may have seen glimpses of this before, perhaps in stories about the past, perhaps in how certain situations unfold in ways that feel strangely familiar, or even in moments where you catch yourself reacting in a way that feels automatic, almost inherited rather than chosen. This is not sluchadikaki. These patterns often continue until someone becomes aware enough to recognize them and strong enough to change them. And this is where your role becomes truly powerful. You are not just receiving this message for your own understanding. You are being positioned as the one who sees what others may not have seen clearly before. The one who recognizes the pattern, not to continue it, but to break it. Breaking a pattern does not require force. It requires awareness and a different response. When a familiar situation arises, instead of reacting the same way, you pause. You choose a different tone, a different approach, a different outcome. And in that moment, the cycle begins to shift. It may feel small at first. A single conversation handled differently. A moment of patience where there used to be frustration. A decision to bring calm instead of reacting to tension. But these small changes are not insignificant. They are the exact points where generational patterns begin to break. And once a pattern is broken, it does not just affect the present, it changes what comes next. Think about that carefully. The awareness you are gaining now does not only protect you, it creates a new path for your family moving forward. One where old cycles no longer repeat in the same way. One where future moments are shaped by clarity instead of confusion. This is why the message came to you. Because you are in a position to make that shift. There is also something important to understand about healing. When patterns begin to break, there may be moments where emotions surface more strongly than expected. Old feelings, old frustrations, even memories that seem distant may rise for a moment. This is not a setback. This is part of the process of release. What has been carried quietly for a long time cannot simply disappear without being acknowledged. But once it is seen clearly, it can begin to lose its hold. This is where compassion becomes important, not only toward others, but toward yourself. You are not expected to change everything at once. You're simply being asked to remain aware and to continue choosing differently when the opportunity arises. And as you do, something remarkable begins to happen. The atmosphere around your family starts to feel lighter. Situations that once felt heavy begin to ease. Communication becomes clear. Understanding replaces confusion. These are the signs that the shift is real. You are not just witnessing change, you are creating it. And through all of this, the protection that was placed over your family continues to stand. Archangel Michael remains present, not only guarding against what was revealed, but also supporting this process of transformation and healing. Because protection and healing often work together. One guards what is being built, while the other restores what was weakened. You are standing in the middle of both. Hold on to this awareness. Continue to observe, to choose, to respond with intention. Because every moment you do, you are reinforcing a new direction, one that is no longer shaped by old cycles, but by clarity, strength, and peace. And as this deeper healing continues, the message will begin to reveal something even more powerful. The reason you were chosen to carry this awareness, and what it means for the future of your family. As everything begins to settle into place, a deeper truth now rises to the surface, one that changes how you see this entire message. You were not chosen to receive this. This was not just about timing, curiosity, or coincidence. There is a reason this message found you. And that reason is directly connected to your role within your family. Not everyone is placed in a position to see what you are now seeing. Many remain unaware, moving through patterns without ever questioning them, repeating cycles without realizing they have a choice. But you have been given awareness. And awareness is not given lightly. It is given to those who are capable of carrying it and doing something with it. You are the one who noticed. The one who paused. The one who felt that something was not quite right and stayed long enough to understand why. that alone sets you apart in this moment. Because while others may feel the effects, you are being shown the cause. This is what it means to be chosen, not in a way that separates you from others, but in a way that entrusts you with responsibility. You are being positioned as a point of clarity within your family, the one who sees beyond the surface, the one who responds with intention instead of reaction, the one who begins to shift what once felt unchangeable. And here is the truth that brings strength. You do not need permission to step into that role. It begins with you, with your awareness, with your decisions, with the way you choose to handle the moments that matter. There may be times when it feels like you are the only one trying to shift things. Moments where others continue in old patterns while you are choosing a different path. In those moments, do not become discouraged. Change often begins with one person, and over time, that change begins to influence others in ways that are not always immediate, but are always real. Think about how energy moves within a space. When one person brings calm into tension, it affects the entire environment. When one person chooses clarity over confusion, it creates a point of stability. You become that point. This is also where your strength will continue to grow, not through force but through consistency. Each time you respond differently, you reinforce the new path that is forming. Each time you remain aware, you strengthen the protection that surrounds you. And there is something else you must hold on to. You are supported in this. The presence of Archangel Michael has not stepped back. If anything, it becomes even more aligned with you as you step into this awareness. Protection does not just surround you, it begins to move with you. You may notice that situations begin to shift in subtle ways. Conversations that once led to conflict may start to resolve more easily. Moments that once felt heavy may begin to feel lighter. This is not SLUCHAIKAKI. This is the result of alignment between awareness and action. You are no longer reacting to what happens, you are influencing it. This is a powerful place to stand, but it also requires steadiness. There will be moments when old patterns try to reappear, when situations feel familiar in a way that tests your awareness. These are not setbacks. They are confirmations that you are now in a position to respond differently. And each time you do, the old pattern weakens further. You are creating something new. Not just for yourself, but for your family as a whole. A new way of responding. A new way of communicating. A new atmosphere that is no longer shaped by what once was, but by what you are now choosing to build. This is the purpose behind the warning. Not just to show you what needed to change, but to show you that you have the ability to change it. Let that settle within you. You are not here by accident. You are here because you are capable. And as this truth becomes clearer, something even more reassuring begins to unfold. The understanding that this message was never meant to leave you in uncertainty, but to lead you into peace, confidence, and a sense of direction that cannot easily be shaken. Now, as this message begins to reach its final layer of understanding, everything that once felt uncertain starts to come into focus. What began as a warning is no longer something that should bring confusion or concern. It is now revealing its true purpose. This was never meant to create fear. It was meant to awaken, to guide, and to place you in a position of clarity that many never reach. Look at how far your awareness has come. At the beginning, there was a sense that something was not right, but no clear understanding of why. Then came the realization of signs, patterns, and influences that had been quietly present. Then protection stepped in. Then transformation began. And now, you stand in a place where everything is starting to connect. This is what divine guidance looks like when it unfolds step by step. It does not overwhelm you all at once. It reveals only what you are ready to understand, and it leads you forward with purpose. The message written on May 23rd has now served its purpose in revealing what needed to be seen. What once was hidden is no longer hidden. What once felt confusing now carries meaning. And what once felt out of your control now feels something you can respond to with awareness and intention. This is where the shift from warning to peace truly takes place. Because once something is understood clearly, it loses its ability to create uncertainty. You are no longer in the dark about what has been happening around your family. You are no longer reacting without awareness. You are now standing in a place where you can see, understand, and choose how to move forward. And that changes everything. There is also something deeply reassuring that must be recognized in this moment. The fact that this message reached you before anything could fully take hold means that you were never meant to be left unprotected. The timing itself is proof that there is a covering over your life and your family, one that responds before things go too far. That is not sluchikaki. That is care. That is intention. That is protection. And as you stand in this understanding, there is no longer a need to look at this message as something heavy. Instead, see it as something that has placed you in a stronger position than before. You now carry awareness that allows you to prevent what once could have continued unnoticed. This is not a burden. This is an advantage. You may even begin to notice that the atmosphere around your family feels different now. Lighter, clearer, more stable. Situations that once felt unpredictable may begin to settle. Communication may feel easier. Even your own thoughts may feel more focused and calm. These are the signs that the message has done its work. But remember, awareness is something that must be maintained. Not with effort or stress, but with simple attentiveness. Continue to observe. Continue to choose calm over reaction. Continue to trust your inner sense when something feels right or not. You do not need to search for problems. You simply need to remain aware enough to recognize when something does not align. And when that happens, you already know what to do. Pause, respond with clarity, and maintain the space of peace that has been created. This is how the protection remains strong. Not through constant effort, but through consistent awareness. And as everything settles into this new understanding, one final truth becomes clear. You were never meant to carry fear from this message. You were meant to carry confidence. Confidence that you are protected. Confidence that you are aware. Confidence that you are capable of guiding your family into a better, stronger, more peaceful direction. Hold on to that. Because what comes next is not another warning, but a closing that will bring everything into a place of calm, reassurance, and lasting peace, so that you can move forward without doubt, without fear, and with a clear sense of trust in what has been placed over your life. Beloved soul, as this message gently comes to its closing, allow your heart to settle into a place of calm and reassurance. What began as a warning has now revealed itself as something far more powerful, a moment of divine intervention that arrived not to disturb your peace, but to restore it. You were never meant to walk away from this feeling afraid. You were meant to walk away feeling aware, protected, and deeply guided. Take a breath and reflect on everything that has been uncovered. The signs you once questioned now make sense. The patterns that felt confusing have been brought into the light. The presence that stepped in to protect you has made itself known. And through it all, you have remained here, listening, understanding, and receiving. This is not sluchikaki. This is alignment. May 23rd was not just a date, it was a moment where something was written with purpose over your family. a moment where heaven intervened before anything could go too far. And because of that, you are now standing in a place where what could have continued unnoticed has already been interrupted. There is peace in that truth. You are not leaving this message the same way you entered it. You are leaving with clarity, with awareness, with a deeper sense of control over what you allow into your space and what you choose to release. And most importantly, you are leaving with the understanding that you are not alone in any of this. Archangel Michael's presence has not faded. The protection that was assigned has not been removed. It remains steady, watchful, and strong. You and your family are surrounded by a covering that sees what you cannot see and responds in ways you may not always notice, but can trust. Let that truth bring you comfort. There is no need to overthink what happens next. You do not need to search for hidden meanings or expect sudden disruptions. Simply remain aware. Continue choosing peace in your words, clarity in your thoughts, and calm in your actions. These simple choices will keep the path clear and the atmosphere around you stable. Everything does not need to be perfect. It only needs to be intentional. And as you move forward, you may begin to notice something beautiful. The very areas that once felt uncertain will begin to feel steady. The spaces that once held tension will begin to feel lighter. The connections within your family will begin to feel more grounded and real. This is the result of awareness meeting protection. Hold on to this peace. Let it replace any lingering worry. Because what had been revealed no longer holds power over you. It has already been addressed, already been guarded, already been shifted. You are safe. Your family is covered. And the path ahead is no longer hidden. Type "I walk in divine peace" in the comments if you receive this final confirmation. Blessing code 2026 is now sealed over your life and your household. And as this sacred message completes its journey in your spirit, hear this call clearly. It does not end with you. What you have received is a light, and light is never meant to be hidden. There are families still walking in confusion, still unaware of what you now understand, still waiting for a moment like this to awaken them. "I am ready to help this light reach others" is not just a thought. It is your spirit responding to a higher calling in this very moment. The word speaks directly to you now. Whoever brings blessing will be enriched, and one who waters will himself be watered. This is not just scripture. It is a living voice speaking into your obedience right now. As you give, as you release, you become a vessel through which clarity, protection, and peace flow into the lives of others. Do not hesitate. Do not delay this moment. Sow your seed through Super Thanks or through the PayPal link in the description and QR code. As you do, you are not just supporting a message, you are helping deliver divine warnings, protection, and awakening to those who have not yet received it. I declare over you now, as you give, doors will open, peace will multiply, and protection will remain strong over your household. Your obedience will not return empty. Release your seed now. Step fully into alignment and carry this peace forward